Hey finance fam, welcome back. In today's video, I'm coming at you with a reaction. A reaction to who? Well, who else? Dave Ramsey. And you might be thinking, ugh, another Dave Ramsey reaction video? But he keeps putting out the goods. What am I supposed to do? So Rami Sethi put out this clip from a Dave Ramsey show. And I gotta say, when I watched it at first, I was pretty shocked.
This house for $387,000 in February of 2022. Since then, our property has decreased in value, not increased.
How?
To $335,000.
Who said?
Okay, so the first initial thought that I had was her reaction, her like eyes opening and the shock and surprise that somebody's house could decline in value really got me. But then it got even better.
The market.
No.
Realtors, the comps, all that.
Without even going any further, I do not understand how they can be so shocked that housing values fluctuate, especially with rising interest rates. Let's watch this again.
The market.
No.
Realtors, the comps, all that.
Did you massively overpay and get in some weird bidding war?
Great question. I actually thought the same thing when I was first listening to this.
I did not get in a bidding war. We got it from a new construction. It's what they were asking. We fell into the, we'll offer you like so much down for closing stuff. So, I mean, I think it was $380 after they paid closing costs.
Which $380 in Austin, Texas is not a bad deal. That's actually, this is maybe in a suburb on the outside. I actually live in Austin, Texas, so I'm very familiar with the area. And paying $380 for a house in Austin, Texas, even at the height of the market, like that's a pretty decent price.
Our home has lost a lot of money over the past year, literally a year.
Kathleen, something's wrong. Because Austin, Texas has not lost real estate value.
Okay. Okay. So why that is so funny is that Austin, Texas has lost the most in value when it comes to real estate. So they had one of the largest increases in housing values and one of the largest decreases in housing values as well. Dave saying, hold on, let me repeat this. Let me make sure I have this right.
Because Austin, Texas has not lost real estate value.
What? How can you be so wrong and sound so certain? Check it out. I literally tweeted about this. This is the Zillow Home Value Index. And you can see that Austin is number uno, basically next to San Francisco. They were pretty darn close, but Austin is number one in terms of how housing values have declined the most and out of all the major cities. And that's because they had the biggest increase in values. Things went gangbusters. I was there, I witnessed the whole thing. So for Dave to sit there and be so surprised that housing values have declined, especially in Austin, it's kind of perplexing. So a few things when it comes to this video. I went to Coifin and pulled up the median sales price of houses sold in the United States. And, generally the long-term trend, and I'm going to get to this in a second, the long-term trend is that housing prices do go up over time, and houses are great ways to hedge against inflation. But that doesn't mean the housing prices don't go down during short-term periods, which is exactly what we've seen in the past. You can even see that in this chart. We have had periods where we've had the housing prices come down, especially during the 2008 financial crisis. Even if we look at it from a different angle, instead of median housing price, I pulled up the average sales price of houses sold in the United States, just so you can see these recessions here in the gray. And when we do see recessions, typically housing prices are going to be going down. And if I zoom in here, we're even seeing the housing price decline happening in real time right now. Okay, so it doesn't matter whether you're looking at median sales price, average sales price. The main idea that I'm trying to get across here is housing prices do decline in short-term periods, and typically that is going to be happening during a recession because the demand for buying homes just isn't there because unemployment is high and people can't afford to buy homes. Now, the real kicker with all of this is that we've got higher interest rates. So essentially, I don't know what people expected to happen with inflation being so high, housing prices being so high, and interest rates increasing on top of those high housing prices. But typically, it's a relation where as interest rates rise, housing prices are going to be potentially falling in normal circumstances. Now, you can see that this is the federal funds rate, the effective federal funds rate, which is basically the interest rate that the Federal Reserve is setting. And this trickles down into everything, every interest rate we're paying, mortgages, private loans, credit cards, whatever it is. Well, we've seen this very, very sharp. I think it's the sharpest rise in history, I believe, in terms of how fast interest rates have gone up. And you can see that as of basically February 2022, all the way up through even recently, we've seen this sharp increase in interest rates. So what that's done is it's helped kind of curb demand a bit for housing. And that leads us to this decline that could potentially keep going. We know for a fact that housing has turned over a bit in certain areas, not every single city in the United States, but in many cities, especially hot cities, as shown here. You know, the interest rates rising is what kind of helps curb demand. And then we see prices go down. So this is basic economics, Dave Ramsey. I mean, all of it is pretty widely known information. And I'm pretty shocked that Dave and co are basically acting like this is such a surprise that this person saw their housing price decline in a year. So that leads to my second beef, right? My other beef is when you're looking at being in a home, and too many people do this the wrong way. They get into a home without a long-term time horizon, at least 5 years, at least. When you get into a home, you have a bunch of costs, right? You probably know this. If you don't know this, that's how it goes. To get into a home, there are closing costs. There are costs to move, and interest on a mortgage is front loaded, meaning you're going to be paying mostly interest in those first initial years. So what's happening is you're moving into a home. You're not really paying much at all towards the principal in the beginning. You're mostly paying interest. That's a cost. And then when you move quickly, if you're not there for long enough, it may not really be worth buying to begin with. So people that are looking at their housing values on a very short-term scale, short-term time horizon, that's definitely not the right approach when it comes to being in a home, buying a home. And as you can see, you know, over the long run, housing has done really well for people in terms of helping to hedge against inflation, and housing prices generally rise over time. But we do know from the 2008 financial crisis and from prior recessions that housing prices absolutely can decline in the short term. And that takes patience, holding that asset, making sure you're not buying that asset unless you plan to be in it for a little bit longer than a year, especially. So don't get too caught up in housing price fluctuations with very short-term time periods. It's just very frustrating to watch something like this and to watch Dave Ramsey have a reaction like that to somebody saying they're losing value in their home, because what that's doing is it's making his entire audience believe that housing prices never go down and that they're never going to have to be thinking about the consequences of selling their home. And that's just not true. Rant over. All right, Finance Fam, if you liked this video, please smash that like button for me and subscribe if you're not subscribed. If you like these reaction videos, definitely let me know in the comments. They're some of my most popular videos, but if you'd like to see more of them, I want to hear about it. Today, I used Koifin for pulling up economic data. Definitely check out the link in my description. My viewers get 10% off for a year. It's an essential platform for any do-it-yourself investor. I'll see you guys in the next video.